The first living creature was like a lion. The first living creature was like a lion. Each of the living creatures represents the manifestation of Yahweh as a human, fulfilling something. Like in this case, the lion represents the Almighty manifesting from Yahudah. Yahudah was represented by the lion. Yahushua came from the tribe of Yahudah to bring the kingdom of Yahweh, kingship, which is represented by the lion, the king of the jungle. It is connected to the gospel, as they call it, to the book of Matthew. Matthew wrote of the Messiah as a king. It is written for those who have power, who would be able to feel connected to the Messiah through the way Matthew writes about him. So it is written for people with power in government, with knowledge of it, to be able to relate to the Messiah through that book. I repeat, the lion is connected to the book of Matthew, writing of Messiah as the king. And in the 4 levels of interpretation is the 3rd level, Derash, which is the one you look for deeper meaning after the literal and even the allegorical. So then the second living creature was like a calf. That represents the Almighty coming as a servant, coming to die for our sins, as Yahushua did, as the last will do, and the last will come from Ephraim, who comes from Joseph. Ephraim was represented by a calf, by an ox, like the ox sacrificed in Yom Kippur in the 7th month during the 10th day. And that represents the death of the last. First and last, one would come from Yahudah, one would come from Ephraim. So first and last, one from Yahudah, one from Yahusef. So one connected to the lion, one connected to the ox or the bull or the calf, as written here. And that is connected to the book of Mark. Mark was written in the lowest level of interpretation, meaning the literal, Peshat, and is written in a way so that everybody can be related to it or feel related to the Messiah, for it is written of Messiah as a servant. So it was written for slaves, pretty much in the sense of how it is written. So it only says what we must do. It doesn't say why. It doesn't go into detail. For the slave doesn't need to know why he's doing what he's doing. He just needs to do what he's told. The slave does what he must do, not because he understands what he's doing, why he's doing it. So that's why Mark is written that way. And in contrast to it, the book of Matthew does explain why. It gives wisdom as to why we must do what we are told. Then comes the 3rd living creature. The 3rd living creature had a face like a man. The man is connected to the tribe of Reuben, which means, behold, a son. It's connected to the fact that the Almighty would come as a man, being that the Son of Man, both first and last. It is connected to the book of Luke, which speaks of Messiah as a man, so that any man, any human can be able to relate to Messiah. With the Mark book is for slaves or servants, Matthew for kings, Luke in general, humanity, for it speaks of Messiah as a man. And it is the 2nd level of interpretation. Then it comes the 4th. It says, and the 4th living creature was like a flying eagle. A flying eagle. An eagle represents the Malach, he who came from the heavens. The fact that Messiah would come from the heavens. The fact that it represents the tribe of Dan. And from Dan would appear one who would have to do with the killing of the last. And Reuben, in a certain way, could be connected to those who conspire against the killing of the first. So it is interesting as lion and calf as first and last, and then Reuben and Dan as those who would bring the first and last down. But also it is connected to the book of John, which is the deepest interpretation, as in the highest also. That's why the eagle, the one that flies, it represents Messiah coming as a malach, as a messenger of the heavens. That deeper interpretation is called Sod, which is a mystery, meaning it is to find what the verse is telling us, which is actually a mystery, and only through the Ruach HaKodesh can we understand what the verse is telling us as a mystery. And that is what Paul was referring to many times when he said, I tell you a mystery. We not all shall die, but we all shall be transformed. For instance, that was a mystery that wasn't told clearly until Paul did. So, and the fourth living creature was like a flying eagle. That is the book of John. It speaks of Messiah as the Malach. Also, these are the four kings of creation. So it represents all kingdoms around the throne. All kingdoms around and honoring the true king, the King of Kings. For the lion is the king of the jungle. The ox or the calf is the king of the domestic animals. The eagle is the king of the flying animals, the birds. And the man is the king of this reality. Yahweh is the king of all four of those creatures around that are representing all kingdoms.